This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Wednesday, July 15th, 8 a.m. right here on Jocks. Continue talking ACC Media Days, which begins here in under an hour. Taylor Tannenbaum of the ACC Network, also Florida State alum, now joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. So we will continue the conversation there where we just left it, talking Seminoles. The schedule feels difficult to just overcome mentally when you're talking about this team. Even if some of the pieces fit and work, it's going to be a tall task to stack a ton of wins against that, Taylor. But what should Florida State fans look at and have some real optimism about this team maybe being better than we're imagining?
No, you're right. Good morning, guys. I was just looking at the schedule as I finished up my notes. Commissioner's actually about to speak in a couple of minutes, but you guys were more important for me right now.
Thank you.
I look at the schedule, I'm like, man, this is tough. The one thing I'm looking for, and I know you guys as college football aficionados and just knowing the game and what Florida State is all about and the history of it, it felt like last year, I don't want to say, I guess I will say, the pride was lacking. What are you playing for? Are you playing for the history of this program? Do you truly care about, that logo on your helmet and not just the name on the back, but the name on the front too? And, I've heard a lot of alumni talk about that who have worn that logo and that helmet and that jersey. And I think what you can look for this year is the will to win regardless of what the outcome is. And I know Tony White, who's the defensive coordinator, talked about it this spring. Like he said, we got a lot of the bull crap out and the people, who weren't playing for the right reasons and who had an attitude problem. And I do think that was part of the problem last year. Now, how it translates on the field, I don't know, especially with this schedule. But I think just the way that they play football is going to be really important for morale, not just internally, but externally too, because the saxophones, as they say on TikTok these days, will start to get loud real quick if you're not seeing at least some decent football on the field.
I don't understand the reference, not on TikTok.
Where did that saxophone thing start from? What is that from?
It's just a sound that's on, and granted, I'm not on
No,
TikTok.
I know what it is. I saw
like
the security guard when the Knicks were going to win, which was where I first saw it. It was amazing. But what movie or show is that from originally? Do we know?
I don't know.
John, do you know?
Get down to the bottom of this.
No, man.
I'm
It's got to be from something.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
Okay.
What's
more annoying, people trying to use that still now or people doing their Netflix documentary thing?
Oh, I'm so over the Netflix documentary thing. That
Nobody
was dead
cares.
in 2 days.
No one cares what
No.
your fake documentary is going to be because they're not greenlighting it anyway, so just don't do that. Sorry, Greg, you can go ahead now.
I'm with you.
Yeah, totally lost on all this, but I appreciate it. As the boomer in the room, I'll just continue on. Help me out with this. Cole and I were just talking off air. We know Miami's won. That's pretty understandable. No one's pushing back on that. I want to know how deep you can go for the cases that could be made for 2. Because it starts, to me, probably with SMU, Louisville in that vicinity, 1, 2, Clemson in there, maybe potentially as well. It goes probably all the way down to 10, if you're really going through it. So how many teams should we be considering as possible candidates to make it to Charlotte for the ACC championship game to face Miami?
That's a great point. We had our production meeting yesterday, and Jimbo Fisher, it's like give your dark horse is one of the questions we toss up, and everyone all the analysts have to give their answer. And his was everybody outside of Miami, because it's one of those, I don't think you have a clear number 2 or number 3, number 4, number 5. It really can go 10 deep. And maybe that's an exciting thing for this league because it will add some intrigue, and it's not just going to be, one team, 2 teams vying for that top spot, but it also has, makes for a lot of question marks going into the year. I do think you hit the nail on the head with SMU and Louisville, no question. They've earned that respect. You have to throw Clemson in there because they too, I look at last year as more of an outlier on a graph, and you hope that it's not a trend and it is more of, just a point that, was a blip on the radar for Dabo Swinney. I feel like every great team is going to have something like that, but you can throw in even an NC State, right, who in my opinion has a favorable schedule and a quarterback in CJ Bailey that maybe a lot of people aren't talking about, and they've added some playmakers and they have more experience now at their coordinator positions than they did last year. And Look at Virginia Tech. Like, sure, it's year one under James Franklin, but you guys know full well what James Franklin has done everywhere he's gone at Vanderbilt and Penn State. And Grunkemeyer showed some things at Penn State, and they have one of the best newcomer classes in the country. So if they can get the best out of some of these young players and these transfers, like, why not Virginia Tech in this league? Georgia Tech, what are they going to look like? They certainly have the offensive line to do it, but, you have Alberto Mendoza. What does he look like? Does he end up looking like his brother did at Indiana? I don't know. So I think I'm with you. They can go as deep as 10.
What do we know about North Carolina, which was the story coming in last year? Like, all the noise, all the talk, all the hype, and not for all the right reasons, but it just was what it was. Is there reason to believe that some of that can settle down and there's real consistency we could see with that football team this year?
I'm going to have to see it to believe it. I don't think they've earned that. 4-8 is not going to get you any kind of excitement going into the next year. It's a roster that I don't think many people know anything about except for individual names. There's not a ton of consistency. What you do know is the track record of a Bobby Petrino, right, and the numbers that he can put up in his system offensively. But what kind of players do they have to plug and play in that system? There's still a quarterback competition going on. There are some playmakers. They're young. They have a ton of talent from that ESPN 300. How quickly can they get up to speed and go? And how much can they develop? Like, that was the big thing last year. I don't think you saw development from this team. It was really stagnant, and that's really uncharacteristic of a Bill Belichick coach team. Like, defensively, they were making all of these mistakes. The quarterback position was all over the place. And now Gio Lopez is up the road at Wake Forest, and I can't wait to see how that transpires, because if he does well at Wake Forest, it's going to put a lot of heat on Carolina. Like, what's going on over there? So do I expect a ACC championship caliber team? No. Could they be? Maybe, but it's the same thing as last year. Like, I think we don't know what we don't know, and that's a lot.
Looking at the North Carolina team, though, they really did get better. I mean, everyone kind of gave up on them. Like, there was some improvement down the stretch with Bobby Petrino coming in. There is still some intrigue. When I look at the top of the contenders, to me, it's Louisville. I feel like they're kind of flying under the radar. They get Ole Miss week 1.
Yeah.
Like, I think they have a more mobile quarterback than they've had in the past, even though they've gone with the portal multiple times. I love Lincoln Keenholz and what he could become. Got great running backs. Do have to replace Bell at receiver. That'll be tricky, but they got good defensive personnel. So Louisville, to me, that's the one I'm kind of riding. Tell me where I might be wrong there.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And it's really crazy when you look at Louisville, and every year they bring in like 30-plus transfers under Jeff Brom. It's a new quarterback every single year, and you're continually getting the same production. And what we've talked about, and that's a credit to Jeff Brom, and that's exactly why Louisville wanted their guy there, is because of what he can do. But what you constantly have seen is year one, they get to the ACC championship, and they had chances, man, against Florida State, who was without Jordan Travis at quarterback. They couldn't win that ACC championship, and that's fine. Then the next year, they pull off some big wins, man. You beat Clemson. You beat Miami. You do all of these things, but then you lose to Stanford because back-to-back penalties late in the game and just some silly mistakes. You compile a couple of unnecessary losses last year after you do something great in the Gables. And it's like, can this year be the year that you don't stub your toe when you do have the talent and you do have the wins to get you ranked and in position to be in a college football playoff? And I think, yeah, sure, it's year 4 for Jeff Brom. I have all the faith in the world in him. And I think they've made some changes, too, on the defensive side at that coordinator position that could certainly benefit them. So I'm high on Louisville, too. Again, why not in this league? Can't Louisville be a team that makes it to the CFP?
Clemson take a big step forward this year in your mind?
Big? I'm not sure. Better than 7-6? I would hope so. Again, they have the talent, but like, I don't. Christopher Vezina has been there a long time. He knows what it's like to be a Clemson Tiger. He certainly has the playmakers. I'd like to see it in real time, and I'm curious of that leash, if I'm being quite frank, with Tate Reynolds as a heralded freshman coming in, and there's certainly been some chatter, and I know Dabo Swinney tried to pull that a little bit, but, what does that look like throughout the course of the year, and how quickly do they turn to a freshman, if that's the case at all? And Gideon Davidson in the backfield. How does he fill in that void and kind of elevate as still quite a young, inexperienced player? And defensively, year 2 under Tom Allen, I think they have the bodies. Does it look a little bit better? I'm excited to talk to Sammy Brown and Will Helt here this week, because I think they have some incredible guys who are going to be great even at the next level. But that was the question mark last year. You had all this talent. Where was the disconnect? And I think Dabo Swinney did some good looking in the mirror, and they added some transfers at important positions, and I think they'll be better for it. I do.
I'd be surprised if they have another down year. I think the talent is there. It's crazy.
Me too.
But then again, I thought the talent was there last year, so maybe I'm a little snake bit and not really ready to put myself out there. Anyone else kind of further down the list that's intriguing in your eyes this year? I look at all these teams, man. It's so hard to tell. You reference Georgia Tech. I don't love them, just being honest. I think they have a good back. I think there's too many questions on defense. I think there's too many questions at quarterback. I love NC State. I don't know why. I just really like their quarterback. I love their schedule, but I hate what they lost in the portal. So, that's kind of my sleeper. Is that an appropriate sleeper to you?
Yeah, that's my sleeper too, is NC State. And I keep apologizing to Dave Dorn because I'm like, man, I understand you'd rather probably just not talk about it. But, we expect them to do big things every year, and they should. And I do believe, there's a reason he's still coaching. And I know there was a lot of talk about him potentially retiring, and he'll tell you that's not the case. He does feel, when I spoke to him at ACC spring meetings in Amelia Island, he felt really rejuvenated and really excited about this team. And I know it's 0-0 at this point. No one's played it down, but he got the commitment from his quarterback. When CJ Bailey was fielding calls and was getting calls, he wanted to be there. You saw improvement from him last year. He was thrown into the fire a couple of years ago. You bring in a guy like JoJo Trader, some explosive playmakers at Miami. And look, JoJo and CJ played together in high school. They have a great rapport. I like them too. Favorable schedule. They miss a lot of these top teams, which at this point with these massive conferences, that's half the battle, right? Is who is your schedule. I really am intrigued by Virginia Tech. And this is so off base, but I don't think Syracuse is necessarily going to make any kind of run. But I'm excited to see Steve Angeli a healthy one, because last year when he got hurt early on, they were beating Clemson, which ended up finishing 7-6, and he was the leading passer in the country. So I don't even know what that looks like. I don't think they're going to be a team to compete, but I'd like to see him just at the quarterback position. And what JKS, Jaren Kiave-Sangapolatelli, does at Cal under Tosh Lupoy, who I know you guys know as a first-year head coach. Is there any damage they can do from the West Coast in the ACC?
I think Cal's a team that could surprise some folks with some of what they have back and what they're going to look like. Taylor, great stuff. Thank you so much. I know you got a busy day ahead, busy couple days ahead. Thanks for joining us to help preview it. We'll catch up soon.
Appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you soon.
There you go. Taylor Tannenbaum of the ACC Network joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline to preview ACC Media Days. If we did have to select a number 2, who would it be? Who would be close? We'll discuss that next right here on Jocks.
Don't leave Jocks back at the house. Download the Jocks 94.5 app and take us anywhere, in the car, at work, or at the game. Live audio, video, and podcasts on your schedule. The Jocks 94.5 app, wherever you may be.
Wednesday, July 15th, 8:16 a.m. right here on Jocks. You brought it up a little bit earlier, Greg, of you could probably debate multiple teams in the ACC of who would be number 2. If you began that practice, teams that you would at least put into that category that you were debating with, who would those be? And if we definitively chose one, for me, a little bit easier, I think, than maybe what you said earlier, it's going to be SMU. A lot of that is going to be year 5 under Rhett Lashley. Obviously, the scheme is in place, the understanding of it. Kevin Jennings, I think, has a chance to eliminate some of the mistakes and inconsistencies and then maybe help propel that offense a little bit further than it's been. But that would be the team for me. Now, I think there are a lot, if you wanted to say possibilities, teams that could stretch, could be there. I'm with you. There's a massive group of teams that you look at and say maybe, probably, in just less known than what some others are going to be. But I think I would have to go SMU as my clear-cut number 2 in the league. I love the stability on the offensive line coming back. I think you got weapons that can help you. I love the Yannick Smith get at wide receiver. I think can help them just a little bit more with a bigger body down the field. So That would be my number 2.
Yeah, I'm Louisville. It's not. I'm not willing to necessarily pound the table, but all things considered, I think Louisville's got a lot of things that you would like to have when making a run, and it starts in a few different ways. One, they've won 9 games in a row, or 9 games 3 years in a row.
Yep.
No one else in the conference could say that. I think they have a super disruptive defense. They lost their first 3 games by a combined 7 points. All right, so they had a couple close losses last year. Sometimes those things flip on their head. They did get drummed against SMU, and that's the problem a little bit with this Louisville team. For whatever reason, they have some performances under Jeff Brom. Like, he's a giant killer, but they also have some performances where it's like, what the heck was that? I don't really know why that is. But this is definitely one of the more underrated staffs in the country. I mean, they do a really good job. They're currently 3rd in the odds. I do think the Ole Miss game on the neutral field in Nashville will be very interesting. If you look at their road trips to Georgia Tech and Kentucky, you have SMU and Pitt coming to them. SMU is going to Louisville, granted sideways last year, but I lean Louisville in this year's matchup. I like Keen Holtz. I like their 1-2 punch at running back. The biggest question mark for me is probably how are you going to replace an elite wide receiver? That's, to me, probably the biggest question because he was really, really good last year. He had 72 catches. That was Chris Bell. And that's the most by a Louisville player since 2004. So he was dynamic, super dynamic. And if they can adequately replace him, I like their chances of being really good.
I think they're going to be solid. And as we have brought up multiple times, and it was just mentioned again with Taylor Tannenbaum on the show, their head coach can get it done at the end of the day. So
he can.
I don't think anybody that's affiliated with this show, with the way we talk about them, would look at Louisville and say, no, not going to be able to do it. I love some of what they added in some spots where you probably looked at it and says, all right, how can you really help expound upon things? You added some speed at wide receiver. You fortified your offensive defensive lines. If that works out, then that could absolutely be a team that we look at week 5, 6 that's like, all right, this is a real contender in the ACC. What are your thoughts with their quarterback spot and kind of what that's going to be? Because there has been a lot of turnover there, as Taylor Tannenbaum brought up as well.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, answer me this. Have you ever been super concerned about Brom coaching quarterbacks?
No, I mean, I think we could say the same thing that we say about Heupel, same thing we say about Lane is like, when was the last Brom quarterback that failed? Probably have to go back and just find a year and there was some weird circumstance. So it just doesn't happen. No,
it doesn't. But also one more thing in addition to that. Lincoln Keenholz he's in a competition, if you will, with Davin Widener. I don't know if that's going to materialize. I think it's Keenholz. I think it's been Keenholz from the get-go. If you talk to people at Ohio State last year, that Lincoln Keenholz it was a closer competition with Julian Sand than anyone could have imagined. So I'm not saying that Julian Sand, once he got on the field and actually started playing and starting games, obviously he took off and the arrow went crazy high and became one of the best quarterbacks in the country. But Keenholz and him in August was neck and neck.
Yep.
To the point where it went through the second scrimmage before they even knew who their guy was going to be. So I think they banked on upside too. I don't know if Keenholz has the accuracy upside that Sand has, but he has got mobility, and there's something to be said about that. So I think Brom's going to be just fine at quarterback.
Yeah. It's
the least of my concerns potentially.
And probably should be. Probably should not be a massive concern for anybody when you look at just kind of what they've been before and what they are now. Kind of like with Canty, no concerns about what they can do for you around there.
No, they can get things fixed on your foundation. And we know here in Alabama it's tricky, right? We have a lot of problems with our foundation, our concrete, because we have clay in our soil. It expands and contracts based on weather, based on heat, based on humidity, based on water, you name it. That clay is going to make a lot of problems happen underneath your home or in your driveways, sidewalks, what have you, because of the expansion and contraction. It causes havoc on concrete. Well, Canty can fix it. They also can save you the cost of full replacement. Their poly-level solution restores appearance, value, and safety. It also does so without the mess. So no demo. You just get this poly-level solution, and it takes care of business. They can also fix foundation, basement, and crawl space problems. If you're noticing cracks in the walls and your floors, around windows and doors, or uneven and sagging floors, Canty can fix it. Canty Foundation Specialist offers free inspections and estimates, and their work is backed by lifetime transferable warranty. So call them today at 205-509-3991 or go online at Canty, Can Fix It. That's Cantey, canfixit.com.
An interesting list from ESPN's Football Power Index that we did not get to. Games of the year, and one that's not included. We'll discuss that next right here on Jocks.
Keys? Check. Seatbelt? Check. Jocks 94.5 on your preset? Locked in. Your ride's not ready till Jocks is on. Jocks 94.5, your daily drive done right. Turn it on, lock it in.
Welcome back here, McElroy Cubelic in the morning, 8:26. Wednesday, July 15th, right here on Jocks. 205-834-9450 if you want to get in. Call or text there. Get you on the Higginbotham hotline. You can tweet in at Mac and Cube, 205-834-9450. We ran through some of the ESPN FPI, Football Power Index, rankings, standings, possibilities, chances, make the playoff, win the conference, make the conference championship game, all of those. And we try to do a little bit of an explanation, Greg, that it's a forward-thinking metric that is a starting point for us. We're not using it as a definitive, this is what's going to happen, which is also part of the, I guess, hilarity that people get upset about is it's not like this is going to determine anything.
No.
You still got to go win games.
Imagine that.
You still got to go execute and play good football. And get it. But if it needs to be excused by some or defended by others or put down by a few, great. Good for you. We're going to use it as a talking point and to start a conversation on the show. And one thing that was listed in the ESPN FPI were games of the year. Now, these are still analytics, so sometimes there's going to be some verbiage that we don't often use and that is maybe a little bit nonsensical for us.
But do we get any grades?
You will get a quality matchup score, I believe they will discuss it as.
I can live with that.
We'll see. 5 games this season with here we go, pre-game matchup quality of at least 99 on a 0 to 100 scale. At least they tell you where the scale ends.
Yes.
It could be infinity in some others that we talk about. Entering last season, there was only one game that rated that highly, according to ESPN Analytics, and only 5 with a pre-game matchup quality over 95. So 5 at 99 or higher going into the season. Do you think you can guess any?
Yeah.
How many do you think you can get out of 5?
First
off, we have no reference for pre-game quality matchup, like how.
I think I can get all 5.
What it could be, might be, can be. This is just it's a metric out there.
Okay, Texas, Ohio State.
That is number 1 at 99.9.
Oops.
That is literally as close as you can get to a perfect game in the preseason that we've ever had.
Love that. Need perfect games. All right, next I'll go Ohio State, Indiana.
That was number 2 at 99.9 also.
Wow.
Oh, a tie.
All right, number 3.
Shouldn't that be less than 99.9 because Ohio State kind of has to win the first 99.9 for that one to remain a 99.9?
No, it's a sliding scale metric. It's just a snapshot right now.
Got it.
All right, number 3, Oregon, Ohio State.
That would not be third, but it would be on the list at 99.0. So you just snuck that one in.
Ooh,
just barely got that.
Might be. I got 3 so far.
That was like one button of the calculator that barely got it in.
I feel great about that. Number 4, Miami, Notre Dame.
That is a 97.4.
Wow.
Not a very exciting matchup.
I'm so angry about it. Nobody wants to watch. Who wants to watch that?
Many problems will arise with that game.
Nobody wants to watch that. All right, I'm going to go Texas and Oklahoma.
That is on the list, but it is not a 99. It's a 96.5. So many things that people will not enjoy viewing with that game,
yes.
Which ranks it down to a 96.5.
Not watchable.
No,
at all. I will go Trying to think of like the other preseason top 5 matchups.
You had one of the teams right for some more that are in here.
Well, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Texas A&M.
That is a 99.1
Texas,
on the
Texas
Richter
A&M
scale.
is?
Oh,
Yes.
boy.
99.1 on the Richter scale.
Let's go.
Wow.
On the Richter scale.
All right.
So that leaves us with one more game that scores a 99 or above. You had Ohio State, Texas.
Yeah.
You had Ohio State, Indiana, Texas, Texas A&M, Oregon, Ohio State.
I mean, I'll tell you the one that to me is absolutely deserving to be on the list. I just don't know if the FPI will see it that way. Is LSU at Ole Miss.
Okay, it does involve. You have mentioned both teams, but it's not that game. Texas at LSU.
Mm-hmm. That was
is
going to be my next guess.
99.2 on the Richter scale.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the teams in the list of best games of the year per ESPN FPI in order. 99.9 and then following. Ohio State at Texas, Ohio State at Indiana, Texas at LSU we just mentioned, Texas at Texas A&M we just mentioned, Oregon at Ohio State mentioned, 98.9. So very watchable but still barely problematic. Georgia at Alabama. Then
Not watchable, but problematic.
correct. Problems with the watchability. Georgia at Bama, then Ohio State at USC, 98.1.
I do love the SC home game. They have 2 of them. Oregon at SC and
That
Ohio
would be
State
next
at
at 97.4.
Yeah, 2
Okay.
good ones there.
So very watchable, but probably viewing the tackling from USC makes it a little less watchable than some of the others.
Really? Gary Patterson.
97.4 would be where Miami at Notre Dame ranks.
Okay.
Ridiculous. That's
Like-
such a good game.
Should be a little higher, but hey,
All right.
what do we know?
Cold weather.
We mentioned Oklahoma, Texas.
Yep.
It's a 96.5. Next would be Georgia at Ole Miss, 96.5.
Not watchable. Not watching.
And then finally,
Anything under 97, I'm not watching.
shouldn't. No reason to. Maybe the biggest head scratcher here. The last, quote, game of the year, at least for this listing, Texas at Tennessee.
The real UT.
The all orange out.
Oh,
That's it. I mean, it's an intriguing
nasty.
game for sure.
Maybe the lack of color variation takes it to a 96.
To me, I think it's really intriguing. Like, tell me the toughest road trips for Texas this year. They have a few of them that are very tricky, I think. But that's probably one of the trickier ones, and it's relatively early.
Yeah, Texas A&M's top of that list.
Well, yeah, obviously. That's, I believe, week 12.
It's down there.
That's double check, but yep, that's Thanksgiving.
Is Tennessee next in line as far as their road games? I would
They got LSU.
offer up the LSU game that was also mentioned ahead of that one. But where that is on the schedule, the probability of Tennessee being undefeated there is really good. They got to go in at Georgia Tech, which is not going to be easy. So I think that should also play into it. And if you're looking at it from the standpoint of, okay, the metrics favor, well, I don't know if ESPN FPI would, I don't know if they would favor Texas over Ohio State right now. But if you're looking at that game as being a win for Texas and then obviously Tennessee being undefeated, then those two teams in that spot on that week, then yeah, that's going to be one of those games. No
You think
doubt.
they will be?
Do I think Texas will be undefeated?
Yeah.
I do.
What,
Yes.
do you think Tennessee will be?
I don't know, man.
It's tough.
Coin flip, literally, because there's a lot that I like about Georgia Tech this year.
Tons.
But obviously, it's a Mendoza at quarterback. We don't know exactly how it's going to look. New offensive coordinator. Love what Buster did. Excited to see him at Florida, but I don't even know how that's going to work. You should be able to lean on that offensive line. You should be able to lean on Justice Haynes. Like, that's a game that you look at, you go into, like, we're going to hand the ball off a lot.
Yeah.
It's going to be a new defense. We're hoping that there's some bust there. Maybe we get a couple explosives off that. And then defensively, does that give us the opportunity to sit back a little bit more, make a new quarterback either that's been in the program or new to the program, make him work a little bit harder? Like, that game plan could kind of fit in right the way Georgia Tech needs it. And
Yeah.
then they steal that game. And you got a veteran secondary back for Georgia Tech. So I don't feel great about telling you that Tennessee is going to be 3-0 right there. No, I don't. Could be, but don't feel great about it.
Could be, but not a lock. But I think it will. I think they will be, but I don't think it's a lock. Just being real.
All right, so I just gave you 12 games. 12 top games this season per pregame matchup quality.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that I left out. I mean, Greg brought it up, but not on the list. Not even a 96 on the Richter scale is LSU at Ole Miss.
Nope, doesn't move the needle. Nobody watching.
I mean, maybe math doesn't equate like former coach leaving, how he left without coaching team in playoff with defensive coordinator taking over that a lot of people don't think can
No storyline.
No hostility.
Maybe one of the best quarterbacks in college football. One of could have been best quarterback. Yes. No. I was going to say one that could be best quarterback in college football but has been injured. All
right, hang on a second. Are we gathering something here? Hear me out. This is conspiratorial. Does the FPI have Big Ten viewership bias?
Ooh.
Just saying. That's what it looks like to me.
Top 2 games are Big Ten teams.
Yep. Big Ten.
3 of the top 5 Big Ten
teams. Told you.
3 of the top 5.
Told you.
2 of the top 5 are Big Ten conference games.
Yeah. In conference. See? Been trying to tell you. FPI, Big Ten bias.
But I've already been told otherwise. I've already been told that this is an SEC metric that is used to drive the SEC narrative home.
The SEC owns all the computers. All of them. Every last one of them.
So would you right now, and again, you can equate pregame matchup quality in your brain however you want, whatever that means to you, because I don't know what it means to this. But with whatever it does mean to you, is there any chance that LSU at Ole Miss is not in your top 12 pregame matchup quality games of the year?
It's probably number 1 for me.
Correct.
All right, Texas, Ohio State, I think
huge
is number 1. But as far as number 2, man. There are a few better than that one. That one is really intriguing. Really intriguing.
You say this all the time. The number one thing that college football has leaned on over time throughout history, what makes it great are the rivalries.
Correct.
What comes with rivalry?
Hate.
Intensity, fire, hatred, venom. You tell me when we get to a game that ignites fury in your brain. Ohio State, Texas. Ohio State, Indiana. Texas, LSU. Texas A&M. Okay, the light goes off there. That's it. That's rage. Oregon, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Georgia, Bama. Some. It's
a little anger.
Yeah. Not as much as it was maybe 5 years ago.
We love to hate more than we love to love.
Ohio State, USC. Boy, that just brings up the memories. Oregon, USC.
Excuse me.
Oregon, USC. That one
USC does.
Go back in time there a little bit. Yeah.
Oregon, USC does.
Give me some Kenyon Barner.
And Ohio State, that's one where
some Marcus Mariota.
That's one.
Royce Freeman.
Ohio State, USC. You can tell me they've played 4 times in their history. All 4 appointment viewing.
Rose Bowl.
I could care less about rivalries as it relates to the new Big Ten. Because frankly, I'm as excited about Oregon, Ohio State this year as just about anything. They have no history outside of playing a couple home and home. So
I guess my point is where is the extra with some of these games? Miami, Notre Dame. Now we can drum some of that up.
Yeah,
we can go back in history and find it, and we can come up with cute names for it.
Don't say it.
It's gonna always be said, and it's gonna always be a part of it. Now, Oklahoma, Texas. Yes, we get that. Mm-hmm. The stadium will be split. We know what that game is, what it means. There is venom, hate, all of it.
And affair.
Not an affair, but a fair.
A fair.
Yes, correct.
And a fair.
And a fair. Yeah.
Not
you got a giant paper mache cowboy when you walk in. That you
Anna
get to
Fair
look
is
at.
the girl that was the lead in Scary Movie, the movies.
Exactly.
Anna Fair.
Yes.
Yeah. See?
Georgia, Ole Miss, I think you get some, but it doesn't immediately say, oh, wow, we hate each other. Like this thing goes back in time. And Texas, Tennessee is just like new money. That's not, we don't even really know what that's going to look like.
New money?
A lot of orange. Unique.
As far as a rivalry.
It's the Rick Barnes Classic.
Guys, that was Cole Cubelic that said Texas versus Tennessee is new money. Just saying.
From a rivalry perspective, what's the history of that one?
Nothing.
Rick
I get your
Barnes.
perspective, but
That's all I know.
those two programs, and I think new money, not exactly what I'm thinking.
I think you know what I meant, though.
I know exactly what you meant. It just doesn't read right.
Now you have
when they write the transcript of this and it says Cole Cubelic calls Texas Tennessee new money. I understand the context.
Correct.
You have me super intrigued now. I'm going to have to go to Winsipedia to look this one up.
How many times they
to see how many times they've actually played. That would be 3. Texas leads the all-time series 2-1.
Okay.
So the last time they met was 1968, a 36-13 Texas win. 1952, a 16-0 Texas win. And you remember the 1950 Tennessee team. They took them out 20-14 at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas.
Who doesn't forget that?
They were lunching in that game, I believe. So, yeah. Texas riding a 2-game win streak into that rivalry game.
It's getting hot.
Drum up the hate for that one. We want extra. We want storylines. We want discussion points. And if it's fire, intensity, hatred, passion that you want, that game's going to bring it out. So, yeah, I have no idea how that's not included in the top 12. There's literally 0% chance.
I'm with you.
Oh, yeah.
It is, I think, listen, Ohio State, Texas is going to be awesome. I agree with you. Oregon, Ohio State. Hell, Ohio State, Indiana is going to be awesome. Georgia, Bama is going to be awesome. Miami, Notre Dame is going to be awesome. A lot of them are going to be great. But I don't think any of them offer up as much to talk about as Ole Miss LSU. Specifically going back to Oxford, Mississippi, the way everything happened. And again, when we talk about the computers are not always right, I think this is a perfect example of it. You can't measure that with math. There is no arithmetic for how a coach left and what he did to a fan base.
Correct.
And how scarred a fan base is and what their feelings are heading into a game, which is going to affect the game. It just is. And that game is going to affect their season because we've already talked about the carryover. Ole Miss going to Florida the next week. LSU has A&M at home the next week. You better not let that game get you twice because then it could affect things past that. So I thought it was very interesting that game not mentioned, GMAC, and their top 12 pregame matchup quality games of the year.
But there's probably a little bit of a hesitance as it relates to Ole Miss, like we talked about, right? We talked about that when the FPI was released 2 days ago.
Yeah, the computers don't like Ole Miss for whatever reason.
They don't love them, not like they did last year or the year before. So I think that's part of the holdup there, probably just assessing Ole Miss and maybe being the tiniest bit bearish. Right, wrong, or indifferent, the computers have some reservations about Ole Miss being able to replicate what they did last year, which I kind of get. I do understand. Like, I understand why they would feel that way. The schedule is tougher. You do lose an elite offensive play caller. Like, there's some aspects of Ole Miss there that you lose a lot of great quality at wide receiver. Like, I have questions about Ole Miss. I really like them.
Yeah.
But I have real questions about Ole Miss replicating what they did last year. Like, do I think they're bound for the semifinal? I have a hard time envisioning that. Would love it for them, but I don't know if there's a few more questions I have for Ole Miss this year than I even had last year. And that's kind of saying a lot because last year I loved their quarterback, and the guy that ended up being the quarterback was the backup. So there's a lot of unknowns that you don't know about, a lot of variables you don't know about. Still love Ole Miss, but I can understand the reasoning why people might be a little bit hesitant to anoint them as a top-tier, top 1-2 SEC team going into the season.
Mark Jackson at Bama Brass tweets in, what about Oklahoma at Georgia?
I love that game.
Should be a really fun game, but it's not listed in the pregame matchup quality games of the year.
What about Georgia at Arkansas?
That is not in there.
No.
Road game.
No.
I think that's a tricky game for Georgia. Am I nuts?
Yes.
Because of the Oklahoma game the following week.
It's Georgia, man.
I'm not saying they're going to lose it. I'm just saying I think it's a trickier game than you realize.
No, I don't view that one that way.
think-
Sorry.
I think Kirby's going. It's a task at hand.
Let's do this, though. Let's look at the Georgia schedule because it's something that we haven't done. And try to take away the obvious because you just stated what yours may be of potential stumbling blocks, things that could get in the way, and potential things that could be tricky inside that schedule that aren't really being talked about. We'll do that. And then there's another metric that involves games and the college football playoff. I'll give you those and which ones the numbers say may matter the most next on Jocks.
Jocks 94.5 is live on YouTube every weekday, plus video shorts and podcasts. Find us at Jocks 94.5 and smash the subscribe and like button so you never miss a moment. Jocks 94.5 on YouTube.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 205-834-9450 if you want to get in. Discussing college football playoff games that will matter the most. There is also, outside of pregame quality matchup rating, grade, score, the games with the highest playoff leverage according to the All-State Playoff Predictor.
Let's go.
Okay.
Now, we would imagine that automatically some of those games that we just mentioned, if not the exact games we just mentioned, pregame quality matchup score, would be at the top of the list. You may be wrong.
Probably.
The average leverage percentage.
Leverage percentage.
The old leverage percentage.
With 12-team playoff, fewer games have high leverage for both teams to make the playoff. The 10 games with the highest leverage involve a team from the Big Ten or the SEC. Now, that doesn't mean it's one or the other for all of them, but I guess leverage percentage meaning the highest percentage that both teams playing will be in the playoff.
Okay.
At least that's what I take it as. Do you want to take a guess at which team would lead the way as having the highest leverage percentage to make this year's college football playoff?
Ohio State.
I'll say this. It is not a game that we just mentioned before.
So the game that's going to have the highest leverage percentage to make the college football playoff. Okay. Means it's like two teams they view on the fringe.
Highest leverage for both teams to make the playoff.
I'll say to make the playoff. I will say Alabama against A&M.
Incorrect.
Boy.
He did get one team correct there.
Alabama, Tennessee.
Alabama at LSU. 17.9% average leverage.
Explain that to me.
Right.
Oh, here, hold on.
Break this down.
Let me tell you.
Cube stat.
I have no idea. No clue.
That's the Rube Cube.
Georgia at Bama, 17.5%. Texas A&M at Alabama, 17.4%. Now, because Alabama's involved in the top three, I need to know what this means.
Right.
It means that Alabama is probably, according to the
Let me text Mills and ask him what the hell's
All-State
going on here.
Playoff Predictor, this is my assumption, it views Alabama as a fringe playoff team. So any outcome in their favor in any of the aforementioned games would clearly tilt the scales in their direction.
Right.
That's my assumption.
Next would be Texas A&M at LSU. Then Ohio State at Indiana. Indiana at Michigan, 16.5%. Oregon at USC, 16.4%. Texas A&M at Oklahoma. Texas at LSU. Texas at Texas A&M. So, yeah, it sounds like kind of what you're saying is that it's a little bit more of both teams may need this win to get in.
Yeah.
Or teams that if they don't win this game might not be in. Multiple as well. So I'm hoping to have an answer with a little bit more clarity.
I think that makes a lot of sense, though. I mean, you look at these teams that they view as borderline fringe teams ranked, say, 10 through 15 in the FPI. Or let's even expand it a little bit. Let's say 8 through 15 in the FPI. One win in some of the games that we just referenced could very much give you the benefit of the doubt from a head-to-head standpoint, from an evaluation standpoint. Like, those are some of the games that are most important. Whereas a game like, I don't know, Notre Dame, Miami in South Bend, Like, Miami is still in control of their own destiny in the ACC. That game means nothing from a playoff standing standpoint. Same thing with BYU.
Ohio State, Texas, they think both those teams getting in if they
probably
lose that
getting
game
in
or not.
regardless of the
Right,
outcome. That's kind of how they view it. That's my assumption. I don't know that for sure. I don't sit in on these FPI meetings. I don't know anything about it. I just know that the computers run thousands upon tens of thousands of simulations, and they can pinpoint the games that best influence the ultimate outcome. I think it's kind of cool. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't bat 1,000 by any stretch, but it's kind of cool how accurate they are. And we'll be able to go back here, I don't know, a handful of weeks from now and say, yep, that was, or a handful of months from now and say, yeah, you know what, that A&M Bama game was a huge game. That was the game that got Bama in, or that was the game that left Bama out, or that Alabama LSU game. Man, that was the game. That was the win that Bama needed to make the playoff. You know, things like that. So sure. I think it's kind of cool.
The response that I got is don't pay attention to the numbers, percentages, just the rank ordering. The games at the top of the list have the biggest impact on the playoff race. So, yeah, like we said, with Ohio State, Texas, it's not going to have a massive impact on the playoff race because the loser of that game still has a great chance to get in. Whereas you could look at Alabama and LSU because maybe they're not viewed as strong as Ohio State and Texas, or maybe even Indiana. Whoever loses that game, you take that much more of a ding. So a little bit sensical. He said usually the ones near the top have an impact for both teams. So, yeah, the loser of some of those other games that we mentioned, we don't immediately look at them and say they're probably out.
Right.
But with Alabama being at LSU, getting Georgia at home, Texas A&M at home, amongst other games, you probably look at that as they need those a little bit more. And then the LSU, Georgia, A&M part of that too. I think I have Georgia a little bit ahead of where LSU and A&M would be. We're talking about getting to the playoff, but computers a little bit more similar than where I would rank those teams. LSU a little bit higher, Georgia a little bit lower. A&M probably fairly slotted as far as the ESPN FPI where I would view them going into the season. So that it makes sense from that standpoint. It's just when you put the percentage on it, it's like, what?
Like, where did we get this?
I still like it. I like the mathematical parts of it. I don't take it as the Bible. I can promise you that. It's take every single stat with a grain of salt, but it's interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
It's interesting when they run those simulations, like where it points, and you can say, okay, here's an inflection point for this team, and say, I don't know, 7,400 of our simulations. This was a huge game. You know, it's just kind of cool.
But another top 10 list of games that does not include LSU at Ole Miss, which we all kind of agree is the game of the year going into the season.
Certainly one of them.
That's going to be tough to convince me that if we did a Super Sofa game of the year, that's not going to be my number one. Back with more next.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.
Scrolling with Haley. Join Haley Caronia as she scrolls through the biggest headlines.
If you haven't watched this show before, we do blind reactions. I have not seen these videos, so I am seeing them for the first time with all of you. We're going to implement the tinfoil hat time segments and all the stuff you know and love. And I'm going to finish the show and answer some of your questions. Someone asked me, what made you get into podcasting? And I was producing podcasts for other people. And I was like, I could do this for myself. And here I am.
Scrolling with Haley. Follow and listen on your favorite platform. Jim Rome takes on sports.
Part of what makes this show is the show within the show. The biggest topic on the show always seems to be the show itself. This is a way to give you clones a way to interact with one another. Yes, we will be going through the chat. Yes, it'll be a part of the program. The only thing that could ruin the show are the old school clones spitting up the same bull crap that they always have. The jungle is out taking names and ready to dominate. Let's get it.
The Jim Rome Show podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform. Jim Rome takes on sports.
Part of what makes this show is the show within the show. The biggest topic on the show always seems to be the show itself. This is a way to give you clones a way to interact with one another. Yes, we will be going through the chat. Yes, it'll be a part of the program. The only thing that could ruin the show are the old school clones spitting up the same bull crap that they always have. The jungle is out taking names and ready to dominate. Let's get it.
The Jim Rome Show podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.